Okay, let's dive right into this. When we look at massively successful Bollywood stars, it's just so easy to assume that they were literally born for the spotlight, right? Like from day one, they were tap dancing in their living rooms, declaring they were going to conquer the silver screen. But today, we're unpacking the unexpectedly grounded origin story of Yami Gautam. And her path to get there? Yeah, absolutely not what you might expect. So, what exactly was her original career plan? I mean, if you had to guess, you'd probably think, I don't know, maybe theater, modeling, something at least adjacent to the arts. But no. Unlike so many folks who dream of showbiz and glamour from a super young age, Yami actually had a totally different, highly academic goal mapped out for her future. She wasn't chasing the glitz and glamour at all. Actually, scratch that. She was completely focused on public service. And this brings us to a really, really stark contrast. The expectation, or, well, her original reality, was that of a super sincere law student aiming for the IAS. She was studying law up in Chandigarh. Now, for anyone familiar with the intense grind required to become an Indian Administrative Service officer, you know this is absolutely not a casual pursuit. It takes an incredibly deep, serious commitment to academics. She basically described herself as a sincere student, just 100% dialed into this super demanding path. But then, on the flip side, we have the reality we all know today, the glamorous Bollywood actress with this massive catalog of work. I mean, the leap from a quiet law library in Chandigarh to the bright lights of Mumbai is just, it's enormous. So how does a shift like that even happen? Well, it wasn't like she had absolutely zero interest in the arts, but it was entirely internal. Movies were her secret dream. It was this deeply private passion. Acting wasn't something she, openly chatted about at the dinner table, and she certainly wasn't telling her friends she was going to be a massive star. So while she was literally buried deep in heavy law books, there was this quiet underlying fascination with cinema that she just kept entirely to herself. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer vulnerability in her own words. Listen to this quote. "I simply loved films. I'd watch performances and quietly imagine myself playing those characters. It was a private dream more than an ambition, because I never thought I'd have the courage to pursue it." I want us to really just pause and think about that last part for a second. She didn't think she had the courage. This wasn't a lack of talent, right? And it wasn't a lack of desire. It was literally just a lack of belief that she could actually step out of her safe academic lane and take that massive leap. It's something I think so many of us can relate to, having a dream that just feels a little too big or a little too intimidating to even say out loud. So this brings us to an absolutely crucial point. What happens when you have the talent and you have that secret desire, but you just don't have the courage? Well, you need a catalyst. You need a push. And guys, that is exactly what happened here. Yami holds immense gratitude for her family and friends because they became that exact catalyst. When she couldn't find the courage within herself, her support system stepped up and gave her the exact push she needed toward her destiny. This is just a massive takeaway for anyone watching. Sometimes, the belief that other people have in you is the literal bridge to your own success. Let's move along and see how this builds, because when we map this out on a timeline, the sequence of events is just incredibly rapid and serendipitous. It starts in her college years, studying law in Chandigarh, fully focused on the IIS. Then comes the push. Auditions were happening in Chandigarh for a television show. Now, she wasn't interested initially, but her family and friends absolutely insisted she try. She finally gave in, basically just treating it as an experience. Then we get to audition day, and honestly, this is my absolute favorite detail. She didn't go to some fancy studio. Her father actually filmed her audition tape right at home. And the result? Director Partho Mitra saw that homemade tape and absolutely loved it. Just like that, in an instant, that secret, quiet dream was suddenly a very real, very tangible reality. And it's just brilliant how one tiny push can change a lifetime. That homemade audition tape paved the way for an incredible career in Hindi cinema. Which brings us right to the present day. Yami is known for her really unconventional approach to selecting films, and she's actually gearing up to hit the big screen again in her highly anticipated upcoming release, Nayi Novelli. You're definitely going to want to mark your calendars because this one is dropping on October 16, 2026, and let me tell you, it sounds absolutely wild. Let's break down the core mechanics of this new film because it perfectly showcases the exact kind of unique, boundary-pushing roles she tackles today. Step 1, she plays a supernatural bride who enters a deeply chaotic family. Step 2, she somehow manages to turn their totally dysfunctional home into an absolute paradise. Everything seems perfectly fine, right? But then, step 3. Her brother-in-law begins to grow highly suspicious of this sudden miraculous turnaround. It's such a fantastic premise that perfectly blends complex family drama with the supernatural. Which, of course, leaves us with the ultimate question. Will the family actually survive this supernatural bride? We're going to have to wait until October to find out for sure. But looking at this chaotic on-screen persona, I mean, it is almost impossible to reconcile it with that quiet, sincere law student in Chandigarh who was literally too afraid to admit she wanted to act. It just goes to show, sometimes the biggest pivot of your entire life is hiding right behind a tiny push of courage. Thanks so much for diving into this analysis with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.